are triggered at that point, it is more about your alignment with self-alignment. We talked about this before. This is about you. It is about your alignment of self, your spirit, your intellect, your emotion, your thoughts, your behaviors. It is the misalignment of those things that trigger continues to remind you of. Less so about them and more so about you. What we continue to try to do is process this cognitive disruption. So that's when we're like, but it should have been. But I thought that. But that's what a plot twist is. We're on this trajectory, we're on this route, we're on this road, and then suddenly there's a U-turn, or there's a sharp right, there's a real quick curve ball, gunshot wound. There's all these things that happen, and we're not expecting them. We didn't know that they were coming, so we couldn't prepare, and that bothers us because we want to be in control.
Yeah.
So your intuition is the God in you speaking, the goddess in you. That is the God internal, telling you right from wrong, good from bad, what makes sense, what works for you, because what works for you isn't gonna work for Diamond, right? But when we allow someone else to attach their route to our plan, that's how we get off track. What they're telling you makes sense for them. Like, they're probably saying some good stuff for them because they're speaking based off of where they are, who they are. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work for you. And if it does not align with who you are and where you are and what feels good, it's going to take you off track. And GPS is going to start rerouting. And when you get so far away from track and it just, that little thing just keeps spinning, just keep going, and it'll be like, I'm going to just have to turn this off until I get to a road where I can see that there's some signal, right? Because we've gotten so far off base, but that's what it is. And that's all this is. Our triggers is what allows us to identify and recognize when we get so far off base. We talked about that before. How do you know? Listen to yourself. We get to a point over time in life where we're instructed to listen to people to tell us things in general that we forget what things feel like. If it doesn't feel right, it ain't right. And it ain't righteous. And at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. If there is an inkling in you that's like, that's it. That is the voice. But we silence it because somebody said something to us or somebody did something that worked for them that we think that it might work for us. Come on, Devin. It is. Like, yes, you are afraid of stretching because we don't know several of these things. We don't know what's on the other side of that, right? We don't know what's going to happen. We're unsure of what is held and our potential on the other side, but we stretch with the understanding and the hope and the belief that we are coming back to form. And that's the part that matters. Elastic potential. You got to hold on to that, and that's the part that should move you into kinetic energy, the ability to move. Yes, indeed. It is those pieces that matter because we can't process through. Like, yeah, it's scary. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to act in the midst of fear. Right. It's the willingness to take that first step. It's the willingness to say, this is what it is, or this is how I feel. It's the willingness to listen to that voice. It's the willingness to listen to the GPS and actually turn when it says turn.
And reroute.
And reroute when it says reroute. Right. I know it's that way. I know it's down. No. It said go down here, go down here.
Let me have attitude, you know what I'm saying?
So here's the thing about wrestling with God. It is okay to have an attitude. Do it anyway. Yeah. But it's okay to have an attitude. It's okay to take all of that to God. It's okay to be like, yo, I have no idea, and you tripping, yes. Yes, right? Yes, but, dude, and I'm a grumble. But I'm a do it. Because even in that, there's a sense of gratitude, right? And when we demonstrate gratitude, then those doors open, then we process efficiently, then we have the opportunity to do those things. And if we don't give ourselves the opportunity, then that's how we get stuck. That's how those negative 10s, I don't have that page on. That's how those negative 10s stay those negative 10s beyond the point at which it happens. Mm-hmm. That's how 10, 15 years later, it still feels like a negative 10. Mm-hmm. And the evolvement hasn't actually brought it up any levels. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's the difference, right? Mm-hmm. If it happened 10 years ago and it still feels like a 10 or a negative 10 now, then you definitely got some processing to do. That means you just, I don't know what you threw that out the window.
I think people,
which we do,
very skilled at masking.
Yes.
You know, and really just,
we started there. We started there.
Yeah.
Because we do.
Because we got shit to do.
Right.
Because we got shit to do, and
it's true.
It's easier. Mm-hmm. I would rather love, these 10 pounds than to come sit down and unpack this 20.
I just saw something where it just said, like, smiling is easier than explaining what's wrong.
Oh,
so,
look.
It's just like, I'd rather just smile than to sit down there and be naked with you. I can't. It's too much.
Or like when people say, how you doing today? Like, fine, you really
right.
doing well today. And nobody will take the time out to listen. So you be like, I'm good, but you really want to go in.
This is
I'm
what's
gonna
interesting
do it one day. I'm gonna tell you
about how we trust others, though, because you said because nobody's gonna take the time out to listen. But it's really you're not giving nobody the opportunity to take the time out to listen. You've already counted yourself out before you ever said, "Yo, look, there was a day," because I'm gonna put you on first real quick. But there was a day where I think we were about to link up for something, but I called Asia like, "Hey, what's going on?" And she started. And I was like,
okay.
Alright. I didn't. Cool. Like, well then let's talk about it. Right? But it's not, there's no difference. There's no difference. Except for the willingness to do it.
Yeah.
Nothing else. Because even if someone isn't, then so what, and F them, and when the next person calls, start all over again.